is Melanie, and this is Simple Gourmet's life-changing cooking tips. So today we're going to talk about knives. Your knives could really make a difference in your cooking experience. It truly is one of the most important tools in the kitchen. So the first thing I want to talk about is the chef knife. There are two chef knives. There is the traditional chef knife, which looks like this. It has a pointed tip, and it has about a 2-inch height in the forged steel. And then the other one is this new one that hit the market, which is called a Santoku knife. And this is came out of the Japanese market probably about 5 years ago, and it's really a fantastic knife because it's a smaller knife. It's usually about 7 inches. Sometimes they have 5-inch ones too, but it's usually about 7 inches long versus the chef knife, which can be anywhere from 7 inches up to 10 or even 12 inches. Generally speaking, your chef knife needs to be comfortable in your hand. So the blade really should probably be about 2 hands length. So I tend to do this to see, okay, well, this knife might be a little too long for me because it's a little long, the blade might be a little too long for me. It might be too heavy in my hand. Whereas the Santoku knife is really 2 of my hands lengths, and therefore it's probably a better weight knife for me. So it's common that you might have a 2 chef knife household depending on the size of the chefs in your kitchen. So the chef knife is really the most important knife for you to find the one that fits your hand comfortably. Please go into a store that has really fantastic knives. You'll spend anywhere from probably $85 on up. The German knives are the most common ones that you'll find, Wüsthof and Henkel, and now the Japanese knives are really hitting the market strong. There's some really fantastic knives from Shun, gorgeous knives. They're about 20% more. Global, of course, was the first Japanese knife that really hit the market strong. So have a look and buy what you like. Beyond the chef knife, the other knife that you really need is a utility knife, and that's this knife right here. So a utility knife has a long, thin blade. What makes this knife different from the chef knife is that this knife is really meant for slicing. If you are using your chef knife, this knife is meant for mincing. Because of this 2-inch high blade, you have the ability of mincing your food, and you also have the ability of having more power because it's a bigger blade. Your utility knife is really meant for slicing. You can't really mince with it because your knuckles will get trapped on your cutting board. So this is really meant for slicing a piece of meat, slicing a piece of cheese. It's truly your slicing knife. The other knife that you should have in your collection is a paring knife, and this is a smaller knife. It's meant for smaller projects. So you would use this knife for things like maybe dicing or slicing a jalapeno pepper, deveining some shrimp, smaller projects. It's not uncommon for you to have possibly a chef knife and a paring knife out at the same time, so that in case you're starting out with maybe taking a large piece of zucchini and using your chef knife to possibly cut it down and make bigger slices. But then if you want to make a tiny dice, it might be better if you use your paring knife for that, because at that point your bigger project becomes a smaller project. If you'd like to buy a set of knives for yourself, I always recommend to get away from buying a whole set and possibly just buying what you need. And what you need are 3 knives: a chef knife, a utility knife, and a paring knife. Beyond that, all the other knives are just gravy. If you do want to add one more to your collection, another knife that I really truly love is this serrated utility knife. Sometimes it's called a tomato knife. And the serrated edge is great for slicing tomatoes because the skin of the tomato is kind of delicate. But this is also great for cutting citrus. If you notice, I can guarantee you that your paring knife is probably going to be the dullest knife in your collection, and it's because you're using it way too much. In most cases, people are using their paring knife for everything because it's more comfortable, because it's smaller, but they're also using it for citrus, lemons and limes. Citrus is actually really hard on a knife, and it dulls the blade quickly. So my recommendation is that you use your serrated utility knife for lemons and limes, so that your blade on your paring knife will be saved, and it'll be so much easier to cut the lemons and limes, and you'll save dulling your knife. Those are my knife tips for today.